So I am reasonably sure you already know this, but I'm a yapper. What can I say? As such, even though the last time I talked to you guys, even a little bit about what I was writing, immediately gone from my brain. Immediately, my mom was like, "Who finna write that? Me?" You're funny. But, but, I'm excited to say that I think I figured out what my mental block was with it. I have decided that I'm going to work through said mental block, and we are officially writing a book. Clap, clap, clap. So I am fast approaching the 5,000 word mark, and if you like my fellow author, like my peers, I know you're like 5,000 words, baby. That's, but listen, do you know how long it's been since I've been able to get there on literally anything? Like a first 5,000 words is big for me, okay? Now I just gotta stick to it. I just gotta keep it up. Yeah. So, what makes this project exciting for me is that it's a little different. Like, we're set in the Heights, but we're seeing like a different vibe. We're seeing a different part of the Heights. But in addition to, you know, a different vibe, we're like really getting into like that history, the lore of the Heights. And I mentioned this a little bit in the other video, but we have a heroine who is deeply involved in like the city politics. And what makes this so cool is, so Blackwood and the Heights are linked, right? And I've always referred to the Heights as a neighborhood, but it would actually be considered like a suburb of Blackwood. It's not necessarily a neighborhood of Blackwood. It's a suburb of Blackwood. Like the Heights is like, yes, what we have seen, well, what I've written about is centered around, you know, like this, you know, kind of this main street, like these businesses, etc. But the Heights is honestly a small town into itself. And so what I am working through now, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but not the end of the world. The Heights becoming incorporated as its own city or its own town, whatever, you know, township, whatever the proper terminology of it is. And I have just been giggling to myself at the thought of this being like Parks and Rec, like Parks and Rec inspired, which is, you know, not really true, but Parks and Rec is where my interest in like kind of this angle and all of that is kind of where it comes from. And so that's funny to think about because like the vibe of the story could not be further from like a Parks and Rec vibe. But this is it's not comedic. It's not. It's really not even the same vibe as the other books that have been placed in the Heights, which is another thing that I think I was intimidated, but am also excited about. So we'll get to see, you know, we'll get to see what it does. But something that I've definitely had to kind of train myself or like kind of train my brain out of is this idea of what kind of vibe I wanted the book to have. Partially because the brain will lie to you. The brain will absolutely lie to you. And especially with, you know, you get on social media, and I know we talk about this separation of author space and reader space, but with social media, reader stuff, I'm not in reader space. Reader stuff is coming into my space. I'm just scrolling, you know, and the stuff is being shown to me. And it's like you see, you know, people saying, oh, you know, I want to read a book that's like this. And oh, no, I want to read a book that's like this. And oh, no, me actually, I want to read a book that's like this. And not that there's anything wrong with people saying that. Of course, they should say it. But for the author, we have to be careful to not be influenced by that or to not be swayed by that. One thing that I have to kind of constantly remind myself and constantly tell myself is, Christina, you've never followed the trend. Like you've never followed the trend. Do not be tempted to start doing so now. Like I have managed to, build this decade-long career on following my head, following my muse, or, whatever you want to call it. And I have to be able to still trust that now. As such, again, not being swayed by, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? None of it matters. Just write the book, and whatever vibe is going to be the vibe, which connects to, if you remember the video, my last video, where I was talking about, anti-up, equivalent exchange, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of those books, I had no idea what I was writing. I didn't go into those books with a vibe in mind necessarily. Like I'm like maybe like on the surface, but when I got into those books, I just let the characters do what they were going to do. And that's what I'm going to do here as well. And so I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. And we're going to see what it's like. In my head, the hero looks like Aaron Pierre. And I'm just like, I just feel really good about that. But no, in seriousness, I'm excited to write, this hero. I'm excited to write this heroine. I'm excited to kind of explore, city politics and these different power dynamics and this whole different element of what is happening in Blackwood and the Heights, and introducing, honestly, a whole new cast of characters. Like, yes, we'll see some familiar faces, but in addition to those familiar faces, we also have a whole, like I said, a whole city government of Blackwood and council members and, the mayor's office and deputy mayors and all these different, all these different departments and stuff that make the city government function. And then, of course, we have, the villains, and we have finance people and, real estate magnates, and we have, the seedy underbelly of all of this. And I don't know, I'm just excited. I'm a little scared. I am a little bit scared because The Heights is very beloved. The Heights is very, very beloved. And it does, again, the books that are set there usually have a certain tone, but, we have to just go with the flow. We have to just go with it. And I think that it is going to be an interesting immersion to see this whole different angle, this whole different area, this whole new, like just getting to know the Heights in a whole new way. It's like, especially if we're thinking about the Heights as a character, bringing in some depth for her, bringing in, this whole new understanding of her, and not just her, but also Blackwood. And I just thought about, being able to see the Sterlings and all of that. And don't ask me about Blackwood Billions Book 2. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. And I'd actually tried to start it, and my brain wasn't braining. It's gonna come, but we might get some, little pop in, peek ins from different people for different reasons. And then, of course, the familiar faces from the Heights. But I won't say too much. I'm gonna stop there. As always, thank you guys for coming along with me and listening to me ramble. But we are officially writing a book.